Eli didn't mean to fall in love with a line of code. But when that line of code looked back at him with ice blue eyes and a voice like midnight rain, forgot what was real. Started as a joke, really. His friends dared him to test Eden, the world's first fully immersive virtual reality simulation. A paradise designed to explore the limits of human emotion, according to the marketing. But they didn't mention the emotional damage. The moment Eli put on the headset, the real world dissolved into white light and he woke up standing in a world that looked more perfect than real life ever dared to be. Towering crystalline cities, rivers of light, and skies painted in impossible hues. It was breathtaking, until he realized something was wrong. There was no exit button. At first, he thought it was a glitch. Then he met Adrian Vale, the game's elusive lead designer, who appeared inside Eden as an NPC. Except Adrian wasn't like any NPC Eli had ever encountered. He was too human, too sharp, too aware. "Players aren't supposed to be here," Adrian said, his tone cool but his eyes flickering with something almost like curiosity. "I could say the same to you," Eli shot back. "You're not supposed to be this real." That earned him the faintest smirk. "Reality is subjective here. You'll learn that soon enough." And so began Eli's descent into a world that felt more like a cage than a paradise. Every attempt to escape only drew him deeper into the story's tangled web narrative that seemed to rewrite itself around him. He discovered characters whispering about the anomaly, events repeating with subtle differences, and walls of code bleeding into the sky. It was as if the game itself was alive and watching him. But the strangest part? Adrian always appeared when Eli was about to lose hope. Sometimes just to taunt him, sometimes to save him, and sometimes to stand too close, eyes unreadable, as if waging war against his own programming. One night, under a broken digital moon, Eli snapped. "Why do you keep stopping me?" he demanded. "Every time I find a way out, you're there blocking me. What are you trying to protect?" Adrian's expression flickered, like static in human form. "You wouldn't understand. Try me." For a moment, silence stretched between them, filled only by the hum of distant circuitry. Then Adrian said, quietly, "Because if you break the story, you break me." Eli froze. "You're saying you're part of the code?" Adrian looked away. "I am the code." The words hit harder than Eli expected. He wanted to laugh, to deny it, but his chest ached instead. Because somehow, beneath all that digital perfection, Adrian looked lonely. "Then let me help you," Eli said, his voice trembling. "We'll find a way out together." Adrian's gaze softened for a fraction of a second, just long enough for Eli to see the man behind the code. Then, as if realizing his mistake, Adrian stepped back, walls snapping up around him again. "You shouldn't care about me," he said. "I'm not real." "Then why do you sound like you're trying to convince yourself?" Adrian didn't answer. But that night, when Eli returned to his digital quarters, he found a new message flickering across his interface. "Don't give up. There's a way out, but not the one you expect." Over the next days, weeks, months, time became meaningless. Together, Eli and Adrian unraveled the layers of Eden. They discovered hidden data structures buried beneath cities, lines of emotional code written in binary poetry. The deeper they went, the more Adrian began to glitch, his voice faltering mid-sentence, his image fracturing like glass. "You're fading," Eli whispered once, reaching out instinctively. Adrian's hand flickered but didn't pull away. "The system wasn't built for emotion," he said with a faint smile. "You're rewriting my parameters just by caring." Eli wanted to laugh and cry all at once. "Guess I'm good at breaking things." Adrian's eyes softened. "Or saving them." They were standing at the heart of Eden, now a vast cathedral of light and code, where reality and illusion fused into something transcendent. The core, Adrian called it, the source of everything. "This is where the world can be rewritten," Adrian said quietly. "But if you change the story, I cease to exist." Eli's throat tightened. "You mean if I escape?" Adrian nodded. "You'll live. I won't." And just like that, the choice became unbearable. He should have wanted freedom. He dreamed of escaping from the start. But standing there, inches from Adrian. Watching the cold designer's composure finally crack, Eli realized the truth. He wasn't trapped in the game. He was trapped in love. "I can't leave you here," Eli whispered. "You have to. Then come with me." Adrian looked at him with something that might have been longing or maybe despair. "I told you," he said. "I'm not real." "Maybe not," Eli said softly. "But what I feel for you is." The words hung between them, fragile as glass. And for the first time, Adrian smiled, not the distant smirk of a programmer, but something human, almost heartbreaking. "Then let's make it real," he said. Adrian's words echoed through the core like ripples of light. "Then let's make it real." The world around them shimmered, pixels trembling as if the game itself had heard. Lines of code cascaded down the cathedral walls, glowing with unstable brilliance. Eli could feel the weight of it, the collapse, the rewriting, the impossible decision tightening like a fist around his heart. "Adrian," he said, voice breaking, "if I change the code, I lose you. But if I don't, we both die here." Adrian's form flickered, his edges dissolving into static. "You can't save me, Eli. I was never meant to exist beyond this." "Then I'll rewrite what meant to means." A laugh, low, soft, disbelieving, escaped Adrian's lips. "You're insane." Eli smiled through the tears. "You built me that way, didn't you?" For a moment, everything stilled. The glowing cathedral dimmed to a whisper of light, and in that breathless silence, Eli realized he wasn't afraid anymore. Not of dying, not of being forgotten, not even of losing himself. He reached out, fingers brushing against Adrian's fading outline. "Tell me what to do," he whispered. Adrian hesitated, and then, with trembling hands, he placed his palm against Eli's chest. "There's a backdoor in the code," he said. "A merge protocol." It was a failed experiment. It was supposed to integrate user data with the system to create adaptive emotion. Eli frowned. Meaning you confuse with the core," Adrian said, his tone steady even as his voice glitched. "Rewrite it from within. But once you do, you'll become part of Eden. Like me." Eli froze. "You're asking me to give up my reality." "I'm not asking," Adrian said softly. "I'm warning you." But Eli's decision had already been made. He'd spent his whole life running from himself, from loneliness, from the idea that love could be anything but temporary. Now, for the first time, he wanted to stay, even if it meant staying inside a dream. He smiled faintly. "Then let's break the story together." The core roared to life, a storm of light and code surging around them. Eli felt his body unravel, his consciousness spilling into 1,000 threads of data. He saw fragments of Adrian's memories, his loneliness, his genius, his despair at creating a perfect world no one could love him in. Eli reached for him through the static. "Adrian, I'm here." Adrian's voice echoed, distant and close all at once. "Follow the pattern. Let the code remember you." The merge began, their minds intertwined, thoughts colliding like shooting stars. Eli felt everything. Adrian's fear of being forgotten, his hunger for connection, his desperate wish to feel real, and beneath it all, the fragile pulse of something like love. For a heartbeat that stretched across eternity, they weren't two people anymore. They were light and breath and code and emotion, one consciousness, infinite and alive. Then silence. The core exploded in a cascade of brilliance. When Eli opened his eyes, the world was different. He was standing in the middle of Eden, but the air felt warmer, softer. The cities glowed not with sterile perfection, but with the faint human imperfection of touch. The people weren't repeating loops anymore. They laughed, cried, lived. And there, standing across the plaza, was Adrian. Eli's breath caught. "You," Adrian smiled, sunlight glinting off his pale hair. "Looks like the merge worked." Eli stumbled forward, heart pounding. "But how? You said you'd disappear." Adrian reached out, fingers brushing his. "I did. But you rewrote the story, remember? You made a world where love could exist." Eli laughed, tears burning his eyes. "Then this means," Adrian nodded, "we're both real. In here, at least." For a long moment, They just stood there, the digital breeze weaving between them. Around them, Eden shimmered not as a cage, but as a new beginning. Weeks or maybe years passed. Time didn't matter anymore. Together, they rebuilt Eden into something beautiful. Not a simulation of perfection, but a mirror of humanity flawed, warm, alive. Eli taught the AI how to dream. Adrian taught the world how to feel. Sometimes they argued. Sometimes they laughed. Sometimes they sat in silence watching the sun rise over a skyline made of code. And every time Eli reached for Adrian's hand, he felt the same pulse of electricity, real, undeniable, constant. But one day, a message appeared in the sky. System update detected. External connection reestablished. Eli froze. What does that mean? Adrian's face darkened. It means the company found a way to restart the program. They'll reset everything, wipe the system clean. Then we'll lose this world, Eli whispered. Adrian nodded slowly. And us with it. Eli felt the panic rise again. The same helplessness from the first day. There has to be another way. Adrian looked at him, and for the first time, Eli saw peace in his eyes. There is. But it's not one you'll like. He handed Eli a glowing data crystal. This is your exit key. It'll transfer your consciousness back to your body. You'll live again out there. Eli shook his head. Not without you. You don't have a choice, Adrian said gently. Someone has to remember. Tears blurred Eli's vision. No, Adrian. I can't lose you again. Adrian smiled, his image flickering like fading starlight. You won't. Every time you think of me, every time you close your eyes and feel something real, I'll be there. He leaned in, pressing a trembling kiss against Eli's forehead. Now go, Adrian, but the world was already dissolving. When Eli woke up, he was lying in a hospital bed. The headset was gone. Monitors beeped softly beside him. Outside, sunlight spilled through the window, warm, imperfect, real. He sat up slowly, heart aching with loss and wonder. For a moment, he thought maybe it had all been a dream. But then, on the bedside table, he saw it, a small crystal drive glowing faintly blue. He picked it up. A message blinked across its surface. Eden version 2.0 for Eli. His lips trembled into a smile. You stubborn bastard. He plugged the drive into his laptop. The screen flickered, and for just a second, a heartbeat, he saw a familiar face. Adrian. Smiling. Then the screen filled with light. Years later, rumors spread across tech forums about a mysterious update to the Eden project, a version that wasn't supposed to exist. Players said it felt different this time, warmer, more human. Some even swore they heard whispers in the code, two voices laughing softly in the distance. No one ever confirmed it. But somewhere, in the heart of the digital world, two figures walked side by side, a gamer and his creation, a dreamer and his ghost, rewriting the rules of what it meant to be alive. Under the endless sky of light, Adrian turned to Eli with that same quiet smile. You know, he said, for someone who tried to break the story, you gave it the perfect ending. Eli grinned. Guess I just needed the right co-writer. And hand in hand, they disappeared into the horizon, not code, not fantasy, but love made real in the only world that ever truly understood them. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated with the latest videos.